Emmett, Idaho is my favorite town to live in near the Boise, Idaho area with a ton of advantages, but also some serious disadvantages. So let's check it out. When it comes to location, Emmett is located about 25 minutes north of the Boise area, and it is probably the main appeal for Emmett. You've got a sea of open land and sagebrush as you leave the Boise area heading north before you come through a pass like the Closet to Narnia, where this gorgeous valley gleams like a green island in a sea of brown sagebrush. As you come into Emmett, you get this overwhelming feeling like time has just stood still or you've just jumped back in time, looking across a valley of fruit orchards, classic brick buildings, and green pastures filled with cattle. If you ask any local what the first thing that comes to their mind when you say Emmett, Idaho, they're probably going to say the Emmett Cherry Festival, and for good reason. It is pretty much the town's claim to fame. It celebrates the local cherry harvest with a variety of activities from a parade, live music, carnival, rides, and food vendors. There's something for everyone, and I actually missed the pie eating contest this year, which is a huge highlight, but I always make it a point to go out of my way, no matter what I'm doing, to go check out the car show that they have every single year. And as a bonus, I was there just in time for the cherry pit spitting contest. It's kind of weird, kind of gross if you think about it. You eat a cherry, you save the pit, and then folks will line up. They get on the steps of the city hall, I think it is, or the post office maybe, and they spit the cherry pit seed as far as they can. And then whoever spits it the farthest is the winner. There seems to be some sort of unwritten rule that every small town in the western United States has to have its own rodeo, and Emmett has just that. All the usual events that you can have at rodeos like barrel racing, steer wrestling, and bull riding. It's not a big rodeo by any means, but personally that's what makes it so cool. The entire atmosphere at smaller rodeos is just something that you have to experience firsthand to truly understand. Another one of the very neat things about Emmett that I absolutely love is that even though it's a small town by today's standards, it has a huge classic car community. Just driving around town, it feels like you've stepped back in time because of the abundance of classic vehicles. However, they have two large events every single year to celebrate it. The Show and Shine is hands down my favorite car show in the entire Boise area, with tons of classic cars in the city park. And one thing that I like to point out every time I go to that car show is just looking at all of the license plates on all the cars. They're all local to Emmett or the Boise area. You don't have people bringing in cars from, other states and whatnot. It's just really neat to see that there's such a conglomerate of local cars at these car shows. But in addition to the Show and Shine, I absolutely love the cruise night, and I don't know of any other places that really do this. The same thing with all of the local classic cars put on a parade and drive up and down Washington Avenue. Folks will line the streets with lawn chairs to check them out, and it adds a whole new level of experience to a car show. I mean, when you see a car in a park with the hood up, it's like, oh yeah, that's cool, but to actually see it in action, driving, feeling the vibration of the engine as it passes by, puts the experience over the top. If you look at Emmett on a map, it looks like the valley is wearing a belt, but a little too high, or maybe a sachet is a better description. However, that is the Payette River, and it plays a super important role for the town for a host of different things. The primary of these things is being the town's main source of irrigation water, so all the orchards, fields, all that stuff, they get their water to irrigate their fields through the Payette River. Without it, Emmett would look a lot different than it does today, but it also provides a lot of activities as well, from swimming to cool off or floating the river for a relaxing day. But my favorite activity on the river is definitely fishing with my new boat that I just built this year. And I specifically got this boat to fish in the Payette River because the Payette River is not a very deep river. It's very shallow. In fact, there's areas where you can pretty much walk across the entire river and it might not ever hit your knees. I mean, it's a shallow river. However, if you want more of a reservoir feel to go water skiing or wakeboarding, then you just got to go above the Black Canyon Dam and get in the Black Canyon Reservoir. It's an absolutely massive reservoir that a lot of people like to take their ski boats and cool off. But the really neat thing is that there are several public parks along the reservoir with shaded areas and grass for picnics, but also nice beaches to hang out. This is actually a really good spot to go if you like to paddleboard or kayak because the water is quite calm. And you can also do some really nice boat watching some really nice wakeboards, or not wakeboards, wake boats and boats that people are going wakeboarding on. When I was filming, it was Tuesday, so I don't know, maybe I'm going to go hang out there and try and figure out what these people are doing that they can afford that boat and go wakeboarding in the middle of an afternoon on a Tuesday. I don't know. And if fishing in quick moving water isn't your thing, then you're still in luck because Emmett has Sawyer's Fishing Pond, which is a whopping 61 acres. To most folks, that would probably be considered a lake. However, if you want to take your kids somewhere to learn to fish, this is definitely a great place to do it. Fishing Game stocks rainbow trout in Sawyer's Pond throughout the summer, and this year alone, they've stocked over 2,500 trout. But there's more than just that in there because folks have caught crappie, perch, catfish, and even bass in there as well. And if you're anything like myself, then you absolutely love to get out and practice your marksmanship any chance you get, and you have one of the best opportunities to get out and bust some clays just 13 miles to the east of Emmett. Rock Creek Ranch is the newest sporting clays course in the entire Boise area and by far my favorite. It's also a great spot to go out and get warmed up before heading out for some real birds. The course is so big that they even rent out golf carts to get around it. The outdoorsman lifestyle is definitely alive and well in Emmett, and maybe that's why I love the town so much. There is an abundance of public ground available to live out your inner Davy Crockett. One of my favorite pastimes for hunting is a quick little over 20 minutes drive from Emmett to the Montour Wildlife Management Area, which is over 1,200 acres of land owned by the state of Idaho that you can do a bunch of stuff on: hunting, fishing, all that stuff. But there are also several other wildlife management areas in the entire Boise area. You can go on to Idaho Fishing Game's website and find them tons throughout the whole area. So with that being said, there is no lack of public land available in Idaho, especially with Emmett. You're right at the front door to all this open space that you can just go out and enjoy. Put your hand up if you like to ride dirt bikes or four-wheelers or side-by-sides, because Emmett is surrounded by a ton, like I said, of public BLM land and thousands of acres that folks utilize to go riding all the time. My brother likes to go out and with his friends and spend tons of hours riding their dirt bikes on the miles and miles and miles of trails out there. One thing that you're going to hear mentioned many times over and over again by the locals of Emmett is going to be the Butte, Squaw Butte. Squaw Butte is pretty much the natural landmark of Emmett, with folks hiking up to it year-round to catch great views of the valley. But I like history, so there's a little bit of a backstory on the Squaw Butte. Back when this was still a wild territory and for millennia before, nomadic people used to come out of the high mountains during the winter to spend the winter on the steppes of the Butte, which gave it the nickname Squaw Butte. Well, fast forward to the age of political correctness and people were getting their knickers in a twist over the name, and let's just say it didn't go very far because I'm still calling it Squaw Butte. Which takes us into the next thing, and that's the biggest thing I love about Emmett, is how caring and tight the community is. This summer of 2024, there was a swather working in a wheat field on the north side of Emmett, and in a 1 in a million chance, the attachment to the tractor hit a rock, causing a spark, which then ignited a fire, which burned roughly 440 acres before crews were able to get it under control. Now, wildfires in the western U.S. are a common occurrence every single summer. In fact, in many of my videos right now, you're probably going to notice that the video's a little bit hazy. That's because there's a lot of fires going on and we get a lot of smoke that's blowing in here this summer. However, bringing this back around to Emmett, as this fire was raging, we didn't know how far it was going to burn before we were able to get it under control. And like I said, it started in a farm field and it was burning pretty out of control. And the amazing thing is that there is a Facebook group, Emmett, I don't remember the name of the Facebook group. Emmett something. It's on Facebook. You can go check it out. However, locals who don't even know these people who were offering up their fields or any of their supplies to folks whose farms were in the path of this fire, whether it be horses or cows or any animals that they needed to bring out, they were offering their fields up. And that was just really heartwarming to see. If you found yourself in Emmett on a weekend, some of the sounds that you would normally probably hear would be mosquito buzzing by your ear, or cows in a field, or maybe the occasional car or your neighbors driving by. However, over the last summer, that has kind of changed and it has the community pretty much split down the middle. The Motorplex has been a new addition to the town, and it is a large racetrack that is planning to frequently host events on the weekends with all sorts of different asphalt cars like late models, modifieds, and mini sprints. Now, if you like to get out and watch races, this might be a huge pro for you. My brother works with and on many of the race cars that a lot of these teams host at that track, and he absolutely loves it. And the folks that do like to watch race cars and all this stuff absolutely love it. So that may be a pro, maybe a con for you. If you're living right next to the track, could probably get a bit annoying if you don't like that sound. But in addition to the Motorplex, south of Emmett, there is a 1/4-mile drag strip, and it has been there for a long time, and it's a pretty well-known drag strip. You may have heard the name Firebird Raceway if you watch the TV show Street Outlaws on, I think it's the Discovery Channel. They've run 2, maybe 3 episodes out there right now. but that just gives you an idea of how big this is. It is a huge racetrack. They host huge, and I mean huge, races throughout the year with all sorts of people coming out, from just people who I've seen a slug bug go down that track, like an old Herbie go down that track, and then all the way up to, you know, people put a jet engine on the back of a dragster and then run them down that track. It's pretty crazy, but it is some great fun. Now, you're not going to hear that from in Emmett. I mean, it is pretty far away from the town. However, if you do like racing, there's no shortage of racing to be watched throughout the summer in Emmett. Now, I'm sure you all know the saying, rumors spread fast in a small town. In fact, I'm sure that's probably like a quarter of the country songs that have ever been written, something about rumors in a small town. So whenever something new is happening, everybody knows about it. And to my knowledge, there's two big things that are coming to Emmett that are new. The first one is definitely going to be a plus, and that's going to be primary health. And honestly, I think this is going to be a great thing for Emmett, because myself, my younger brother, my cousins, my stepbrothers, growing up running around on acreage at my grandparents' house, you get a whole mix of young boys running around on dirt bikes and shooting BB guns and just roughhousing on acreage. You're going to have frequent trips to the ER for stitches, x-rays, concussions, all sorts of that stuff. So I see primary health being in Emmett as a really good thing. But the next thing that's coming, and it's kind of funny, I don't know if it's going to be that big of a hit or not, but it's a car wash. I believe it's an automatic car wash that's coming to Emmett. And the reason I find it funny is because I think maybe 8, 9 out of the 10 of the cars on the road in Emmett are pickup trucks or dualies, which don't fit in car washes. And I don't know many people that wash their pickup. So we'll see how effective it is. If you have a car that you want to keep clean all the time, then the good news is it'll probably be pretty open. You don't have to wait in line for a long time, but we'll see. Could be a hit. It really could be a hit. Might not be. The biggest news for Emmett, however, and that is on everybody's mind, is the Highway 16 project. A little backstory for you. Highway 16 is the main road that you take to get from Emmett to the Boise, Idaho area. And forever, it just came down to Highway 2026 where it stopped. However, we are currently connecting Highway 16 all the way down to Interstate 84, which is really going to speed up the time it takes to get to and from Emmett. Now, this is the unknown part. Any anticipation of growth is purely speculation, in my opinion. Some people are saying that this is going to be the straw that broke the camel's back, or however the saying goes, that Emmett is just going to blow up in size. I don't necessarily see it making a huge difference to Emmett. Now, there might be a little bit of growth due to the access, but honestly, there is so much space in between the Boise, Idaho area and Emmett. I can see growth growing alongside of that all the way up, you know, through Meridian, through Star, through Eagle, maybe a little bit past that, but I can't attribute much growth in Emmett to that. When it comes to roads in Emmett, you've got a few main roads. Highway 52, which runs east to west through town, which will take you up Freeze Out, where it turns into Highway 16, connecting Emmett down to the rest of the Boise area. Your next major road is going to be Washington Avenue, which is basically Main Street 2.0. It has all of your town amenities from fast food to professional service and a handful of stores, and connects the south side of town to the north across the river. Black Canyon Highway is another prominent road for the area, and you can take that to head east to Black Canyon, or even utilize that to connect to Highway 55 to head to the north. Emmett is part of the Emmett School District and has a few different schools. There are 3 elementary schools for Emmett: Shadow Butte Elementary, Butte View Elementary, and Kenneth Carberry, followed by Emmett Middle School and Emmett High School. And in most recent news, Emmett has followed suit with what a majority of the schools in the entire Boise area are doing, and that is switching from a 5-day school week to a 4-day school week. I have talked to a bunch of people, students, parents, teachers, a bunch of people, and it's a pretty much split. A lot of the teachers that I've talked to, they're actually super in favor of this 4-day school week. A lot of parents like it as well because they can spend more time with their kids. Some parents do find a huge issue with it because maybe they're working 5 days a week and now they have to figure out childcare for 1 day a week. I know when I was in high school and middle school, if I had a 4-day school week, do you know how much trouble I would get into? Especially living in Emmett, going fishing, probably going shooting my BB gun way too much, riding my dirt bike. The options are endless. However, there are both sides to this coin, so that is something to take into consideration. When it comes to housing in Emmett, we're seeing some interesting changes that are kind of happening throughout here. Forever, when it comes to housing, Emmett has been known to be pretty affordable comparing to the Boise, Idaho area. Right now, if you want to get into a home in Emmett, you're looking around the $250,000 mark and up from there. There are going to be a few different styles of homes in Emmett that you're going to notice because there were certain spikes throughout time in the building. As you're within the first few blocks of downtown Emmett, you're going going to see a lot of the original homes as the town was getting started. Simple turn of the century homes, some of them being really well preserved and that are awesome to check out. Then as you start heading out from there, you'll notice a bulk of ranch style homes built in the 60s and 70s. Some homes from the late 90s and early 2000s can be found here as well. Then it got pretty quiet until the last few years when a couple developments popped up, building new homes from builders like Agile Homes, Value Homes of Idaho, and even Toll Brothers had a few homes built here as well. But the most recent changes that I mentioned earlier is that folks have discovered just how awesome Emmett is for several different reasons. One, it's an awesome place to live, great views. It's quiet. The growth probably isn't going to happen a lot, but like I said, with the new highway coming in, it's possible. I'm just speculating here. Land prices and home prices are a little bit cheaper, so people are able to go out and get 1 acre, 2 acre, even 5 acre to 10 acre parcels of land, and they're building some gorgeous custom homes. I mean, multi-million dollar custom homes, which is kind of out of the ordinary for Emmett. Like I said, Emmett's known for being pretty affordable, so you have this pretty stark contrast where you have homes starting prices in the 250s, and then you have a lot of acreage homes popping up, custom acreage homes with maybe views or waterfront that are million plus. So there's a stark contrast in that, and it's going to be really interesting to see how that changes Emmett. I could easily make the argument that farmers markets can tell you everything you need to know about a town, and Emmett's farmers market definitely doesn't disappoint. There are tons of vendors to get all your local produce from, baked goods and supplies, and the coolest thing of all to me is that Emmett has 2 farmers markets every single week, whereas every other town around the area only has 1 a week, and some don't even have that. Middleton, for instance, only has 1 farmers market a month. That's kind of boring. Emmett has their farmers market every Wednesday and Saturday, so you'll never run out of goods throughout the market season. However, the awesomeness doesn't just stop there at the farmers market, because there are a ton of locally owned and operated farms where you can get fresh produce from throughout the week. And there are even more small farms that are popping up through Emmett, like I hinted at earlier, with people buying 5 acre, 10 acre, 20 acre properties that are coming into the area specifically to start their own farms. I love beef. I think any red-blooded Idahoan is going to tell you that they love a steak. I can put down a 16-ounce steak like that. However, a lot of people are becoming aware that maybe grain-fed finished isn't the way to go when it comes to healthy beef. Don't shoot the messenger.
Please don't shoot the messenger.
I'm just saying what I've been told. However, grass-fed, grass-finished beef, pasture-raised, all that kind of stuff. So you can get beef, milk, everything. I've even seen pasture-raised pork. Didn't know that was a thing, but it is. So you can get all those things locally right there in Emmett, where you can grow up and you can live and see your pig or your cow get raised right across the street from you, which is really neat. In fact, people are driving all the way from Boise out to Emmett just to purchase the food, because they know that that's where the organic, grass-fed, grass-finished beef, pork, chicken is. And there are several farms out there that even they do farm tours. Like, they bring you out, they want to show you their operation and show you everything that goes into it and educate you on the process too, which is really cool. An absolutely must visit that I'm going to throw in here is the Rowan Drive-In. That is one of the town's best kept secrets for decades. The drive-in is a 1950s inspired atmosphere where you can pull your car up and order straight from your car, and it's really neat because you order off of an old style telephone. I always get the finger steaks when I go there, but their garlic fries are an absolute non-negotiable. Quite literally the best I've ever had. And just for the kicks, grab a milkshake while you're there too. When most folks think of a small town, fancy dining probably isn't the first thing that comes to your mind. However, one of my favorite upper-end dining places is just a short 20-minute drive outside of Emmett. Anderson Reserve is a very nice upscale steakhouse that has a farm-style setting and is actually on a working ranch. The actual restaurant is in a barn, which gives it a really cool atmosphere with some seriously high-quality food. They even have a cigar and whiskey bar there as well. I like to go there for birthdays and special occasions, and even the drive there makes it all the better with the winding road next to the Black Canyon Reservoir. When it comes to shopping, Emmett has all of what I like to call the essentials. Albertsons for your groceries. Bi-Mart has some groceries there as well, but it's going to be more of an all-around store where you can get electronics, sporting goods, home goods, along with some food and drinks. There is a Walgreens in Emmett too, so if you need any pharmacy stuff, you can grab that there as well. My favorite store of all in Emmett is going to be D&B Supply, and if you're going to embrace your inner homesteader or Western lifestyle, you're going to spend a lot of time and money in this store. Just to sum up what you can get there, you can get anything from plants, seeds, fertilizer, you can get rocks, mulch, anything from jeans to boots. You can get sporting goods there, home decor, feed for all your animals. That's just kind of gonna be an explanation what it is. They have a ton of stuff there. However, if you do need to go do some larger grocery hauls like Costco size, you've got a Costco just 30 minutes to the max south of you. Right in the heart of Emmett, the Gem Island Sports Complex is the go-to spot for anyone looking to get active and enjoy some outdoor time. It's got everything from baseball and softball fields to soccer pitches and nice walking paths. Whether you're in the mood to join a game, train, or just take a walk, this place has you covered. The complex is always well kept, making it a great place for both locals and visitors to come check out. They even have a green belt that goes around the entire island that I always see people utilizing. And just when you think Emmett can't get any better, it throws a curveball at you, or maybe a dimpled ball, because it has its own golf course too. Now, it's not a full 18-hole golf course. It's just a 9-hole golf course, and definitely by no means is it a fancy golf course, but I don't golf. I don't know anything about golfing. However, if you just need to get out and practice, it's there for you. One of the many things that I love about Emmett, and it completely embraces the small town mentality of helping out your neighbors, is the Pet Adoption League. It is a small nonprofit animal shelter that has done a ton for the animal friends of Emmett. They take in lost dogs, provide animal food for folks who may need help, but most of all is having the well-being of the animals at the top of their list. I have partnered with the Pet Adoption League several times in the past just because I love helping that organization. But above all, the best thing about Pet Adoption League is they were able to unite me with my absolute best friend in the world. Say hi, Sadie. Hi. Look at those eyes. I woke her up from a nap to come check this out. Okay, go on. She's my partner in crime, and we've made a lot of memories along the way, and it would not have happened if it weren't for Pet Adoption League. So, Emmett's deadly secret? Well, it's mosquitoes. Did you know that mosquitoes are the most deadly, statistically the deadliest creature in the entire world? Pretty crazy, right? Anyhow, Emmett has the highest density of mosquitoes in the entire Boise area as far as I know. And it depends on the year. Some years are worse than others. Some years aren't as bad. Emmett's just really wet, so mosquitoes like to live there a lot. And there's a lot of mosquito abatement that goes on throughout the summer. Most of the time it's from aircraft. The last time I heard that, a couple weeks ago, I think that they sprayed for mosquitoes was from an aircraft. So that's something to keep in mind. Obviously, nobody wants to be living with pesticides and all that stuff, but at the same time, it's a trade-off. Do you want to walk out your door and have 15 mosquito bites? No, it's nothing like Florida. I'll say that. For me, at least, it's not. I can go wade through the middle of the river in just a Speedo, to be honest, and I won't get a mosquito bite. But some people absolutely get eaten up. So that's something to keep in mind. If you don't like mosquitoes, then maybe that's something to take consideration with Emmett. Well, there it is. Do you think Emmett could be your home? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. And until next time, I'm Isaac Crace with Top Idaho Real Estate, your third generation Idaho Realtor.